Hi, welcome to another session of the Hebrew letters, and this time we are on Vav. We're almost halfway through this semester, I suppose, because there are going to be 11 sessions this semester and 11 sessions next semester, which adds up to 22, which is the number of Hebrew letters. So we're doing Vav this week, and it's a particular favorite letter of mine. I don't know if you can have favorite letters, but I have a favorite letter, and it's Vav. Vav, in some sort of very strange books, they call it Wav, or they have strange phonetics with it. We all call it Vav. It's the sixth letter of the Hebrew alphabet, so its numerical value is 6. And it has a sound of V, but it also appears as a vowel in very ancient Hebrew and in modern Hebrew as well. It can be a vowel, and it can be two different types of sounds. It can be the sound of O, and it can be the sound of U. So it's an interesting one that appears as one of the very, very first vowel sounds, because nowadays there's lots of these nikuds I told you about, but originally there were only really a couple, and one of them was Vav, and the other one was Hey. Can be a sort of vowel sound or help on a vowel sound. So this is consonant and vowel. What does it mean? It means a hook. It also means and it does this most wonderful thing. My favorite bit about a Vav is that in biblical Hebrew, and so for some reason it isn't kept in rabbinic Hebrew and it isn't kept in modern Hebrew, it transforms the word from transforms the tense of the word. So if you say I was going in the past, I went, if you add a Vav before it, and I went, it becomes and I will go. And if it says, and if you've got something that says I will go in the future and you put a Vav in front of it, it will change it to and I went. I think this is brilliant. For me, it meant I only really had to learn 2 tenses because I could just put the verb in and switch it around. The future tense is more difficult than the past. But I love this idea of playing with time and playing with meaning and playing with grammar. And I think it's just one of the more remarkable things about the Torah and the text, and that there's a timelessness to it. When you come across rabbis doing discussions on a text, say a part of the Torah, say Genesis 4 or something, they'll quote bits from Isaiah and they'll quote bits from Kings and different parts, and they're as if they've all been written in the same time and they're all about the same thing, because they are all about the same thing, really. And that's why I like the Vav so much. It's got this playfulness between past and present in its grammar in the biblical Hebrew. I even have the most beautiful drawing painting of a Vav that I picked up in Jerusalem quite a few years ago, with lots of writing around it, mystical parts of Kabbalah around it. And I just like the Vav very much for that. I also, mainly because of this wonderful ability to switch the tense of a verb, and Hebrew is a very verbal language, and so all the roots of words tend to be verbs, and they can be used as nouns as well. So the Vav is just this beautiful creative flip. So it's not just and I said, it's also and I will say. So I love that. It's got this practically straight up and down shape to it, the Vav. If you're just writing it yourself, you just write a straight line, basically. You wouldn't do the fancy bits on it. In more modern forms, it looks just like a slight hook to it. Vav as a vowel, though, changes a little bit. It has a dagesh. Now, not always in some of the scripts. You have to know the some of the things, but for people like us, when we're reading it, kind people put the dagesh in to let us know what it is. And so if it looks like this in a word, it's an oo sound, and if it's above, it's an o sound. So we've got that famous word shalom is the vav as a vowel, shalom. So it's got the o sound to it. If it was, the dagesh was down here, it would be shalom. So it's this consonant and a vowel. So it stays the same shape, but it has or doesn't have that dot, that dagesh in. And I like it because the sound of vav is the sound of being joined, because it's palindromic. It's the same both ways round, like the name Anna, A-N-N-A, backwards is Anna. So that's a palindrome. So vav is a palindrome. It's vav, whichever way round you say it. And vav is the sound of and, which I like, that and is two things. And it points to it being one and another. And that's what I also love about the and part of it. I like the grammatical change of tense, but I also like the and part of it. There's quite a famous story about two schools of thought in about 100 or so years before the birth of Jesus. So about 100 BCE, we call it, before the Common Era. And there's two schools of thought. One is led by Rabbi Shammai, one by Rabbi Hillel. And Shammai tends to be the sterner, more by the book version. Hillel tends to be the one that lets it go a bit more easily. He's the one who when the Roman comes to visit him and says, teach me the Torah while I'm standing on one leg, i.e. in 5 minutes, because I can't be bothered to learn it properly. He says, love your neighbor as yourself. But he also says, the rest is commentary, go learn. Nobody remembers that bit. Shammai just dismisses the guy. He thinks it's just so rude, he won't deal with it. But these two are having an argument about something. It doesn't matter what they're arguing about. But Shammai saying this and Hillel saying that, and they're arguing, and they're respectful argument. We have a saying, lishmo, it's for the sake of heaven. They're not doing it to show off who's the cleverest. They respect each other tremendously. And they're having this argument about whether it could be like this or whether it could be like that. Which way is it? We can't decide which way it is. And it goes on for ages and ages, this argument. And finally they say, well, we can't work it out. We will have to ask God, basically, what's the answer? So the pair of them go and they say to God, which one is it? And the voice comes from heaven, it's this and it's this. But we have to go with one, so we'll go with Hillel. Because in the end, we're living in a human world, and we have to have these worlds where we are making a decision and running on something. But in a bigger world, it's this and it's this. And I like that, because vav is this and it's this. It's one and another. It's not exclusive. The vav looks like a hook that holds two things together. And the vav holds the spiritual and the physical together. It rather than looking like a line across holding words together, this word and that word, it's this word and that word, which are going up and down, lishmo, they're for the sake of heaven, not this way. It's vertical because one and another cannot be joined. They're independent. One would dissolve the other, but we have to join them some way. So we have this vav. It also, of course, looks like the central part of our body when we are standing upright. And we are the upright animals that are wanted by all the other created beings, because we are the ones that can stand upright and mitigate between earth and heaven. We can send up prayers. And our first prayer is for rain. I told you about everything being not yet. Well, this is the moment where it's not yet, and we can stand and say the prayer, and rain comes and life forms. So we are part of the upright. Last week we did Hey, which is very much sort of like the limbs of your arms and your legs. The Vav is very much this central part of you. And when we come to the Yud, it's like this head, this little point, Hey, Vav, Hey, and that's the tetragrammaton of God, Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. So it's all wrapped up together. There's no accidents in our interpretations. As I said, the reversing verb, it's got a very, very complicated name in grammar books, but those of us that just are too lazy to do that, we just call it the reversing verb. It's it alters the case, as I said, and so the and for ve'ila means and these things within a sentence. It's and this and that, but it also does this changing verbs, tenses around, and these are some hoya, it will be, and that's why I guess some people find it a very big problem translating some of the Hebrew, because the tenses change very subtly, and it shall be Yehi, there will be light. There was light, Vayehi, and there was light. Yehi, there will be, Vayehi, there will be. It just does this tense switch. So very nice. I love all this playing of time. And why do I like the playing of time? Well, I'll come to that in a moment. Basically, we say that God created the universe in 6 days, and the first letter we've gone through is a bet in the beginning. 6 days, the 6 alephs in the first verse of the Torah, and aleph is that first letter. So we try to connect all these things up. And the first vav in the Torah is found at the beginning of the 6th word, and this is the 6th letter, the S. So creation is connected to this number 6. And Vav is the 6th letter. There's also, apart from the 6 days, there's an idea that the world as created is going to exist for about 6,000 years. We're in 5784 at the moment, so not long till it's all over. Maybe it will be over a little bit sooner than we planned. Oh, God planned. So we are, 6 has a lot to do with creation, the gematria of 6. The other part, though, that I said I would spend a little bit more time on is explaining some of the Sefer Yetzirah to you. And I've told you about Kabbalistic ideas, about these Sephirot, that this comes out of a sort of crown, this Ein Sof, this nothingness that is God. And then it comes down into the universe. This light is radiated down to make creation. It's a slight withdrawal to make space for creation. And we say that it starts with Chokhmah, wisdom. Creation starts with that. And then this is a masculine understanding, and Bina is, a masculine idea. Bina is understanding. So Chokhmah and Bina go together. And then gradually we descend into these sorts of emotional traits and characteristics that we are meant to refine in ourselves. That's part of our job, is to take chesed, kindness, but not without any limits to it. There has to be judgment, gevura, and boundaries. Netzah, eternity, and also sort of ambition, and hod, splendor, sort of humility as well. And that Tiferet is beauty and harmony between Chesed and Gevura. And Yesod is the number 6 one, is foundation. And we're about to be in the foundation of creation. And Malkut is really where the humans come in and start to drag all of this down into the functioning part of the universe, running things, running their lives. And the Sefer Yetzirah is this ancient book. Sefer and Sephira go together. These are the Sephira, the they are the feminine, it's a feminine word. Hebrew, like French and Spanish and lots of languages, have masculine and feminine to everything, every noun. And so these sephira are actually feminine, and the plural is sephirot. There's lots of sephira. Each one of these is a sephira. Characteristics, they're feminine. The Sefer Yetzirah, Sefer is a book and it's masculine. And so there's this link between feminine and masculine, and there is between Chochmah and Bina. There's lots of these sorts of gendered links as well. The Sefer Yetzirah, this 3-book thing, this book calls itself a book that is about, is divided into 3 sorts of ideas or characteristics that run through this very, very short book. It's a tiny, tiny book, the Sefer Yetzirah. This is a version of it, I hope you can see, which is just, I think half of it is English and half of it, no, this is the whole book in, you know, a tiny pamphlet form. This is the English one with a few drawings in as well. It's a very thin book, but it contains 3 sefers in it. The sefer itself, which is, sefer means book or text, and it's the form of the letters. That's why we're so interested in letters, the form of the letters which create the universe or space. So sefer is about space. Safar, which all comes from the same root. Safar is a number, like cipher in English. So that probably comes from the same root. And this is the gematria of the letters. And so that's why we're interested in the gematria, because it gives us the time and numbers and counting. There's a lovely phrase in Sefer Yetzirah: before 1, what did you count? Until you create the 1, then you can't create any numbers. So there's this idea of Sephar also talks about the numbers, and Sipor is the telling or communication, the pronunciation and names of letters, just like Vav, I said, is this palindrome. So we're interested in the names of letters because they tell you something about the letter, like Beit means a house, and how you pronounce it, B or V. And so this book, the Sefer Yetzirah, is very interested in the form of the letter, what it looks like, its gematria, its numbers, and it plays on all these things, and also the pronunciation and names of letters, because what it's saying is the whole universe, space, time, and life are all from words and letters. And specifically, they're from the 22 letters of the alphabet and the 10 sephirot. They have 10 slightly different sephirot. Instead of Chochmah and Bina and characteristics like that, they talk more about north and south and up and down, beginning and end, and good and evil. And everything is in balance between the extremes of these. They talk about the 22 letters being part of this path of creation. And these letters are divided into 3 categories. Mother letters, Aleph being one of them, a mother letter. Air, Aleph is about air. Mem, we'll come to, is about water. And Shin is about fire or heaven. So the mother letters, the double letters, we've looked at some of those, the ones with the dagesh in, B, V, G, Ch, those double letters. And then there's 12 elemental letters. I should have put 7. There's 3 of these. There's 7 of those and 12 of those. I should have put the numbers of the letters so that you know how many there are. So there's 22 letters and 10 sephirot, and all of this is revealed in the Torah and in creation. And I'll show you how that works a little bit. Here is the 32 paths in Genesis, just in the first bit of Genesis. So path 1, in the beginning, God created. This is linked to Keter, the crown, which is the first Sephirah. The Spirit of God hovered. This is linked to He, the letter He, and it's an elemental letter, first elemental letter. God said, let there be light. This is linked to Chokhmah, wisdom. And this is the second Sephirah. We went Keter, Chokhmah, Bina is the third. God saw that it was good. This is letter Bet, Bereshit. It's a double letter. It's got a B, V to it. It's the first double letter. And you go through the whole thing. This is from Sefer Yetzirah, the translation by Aria Kaplan. And it's got all the different bits so that you go through all the Sephirah, and all the letters are contained in this very first part that of Genesis, right up to the 6th day. Why am I doing it now? Because we're in letter 6. So up to the 6th day. And so he makes humans, he blesses them, fruitful and multiply. I've given you this place to look after. If you don't look after it, there ain't nobody else to do it. So you're meant to be looking after it. And God saw all he had made. And this is the last letter, Tav, which is also a double letter. So we go through all of these 32 letters and Sephirah just in the 6 days of creation. So it links it together. Very complicated, but very beautiful. I like all these cross things. And so the Sephirah are also linked to the days of creation. The first day is Hesed, then we go Gevor, because we're balanced, Hesed, Gevora, and then in the middle, Tiferet. I'll show you again from this. Hesed, Gevora, and in the middle, Tiferet. These are the lower creative parts of the days of creation. And so we link up all of these to the days of creation, and we link the letters into what God says, because God is creating the universe by speaking it into being. And the 6th day is Yesod, and we're on Vav, which is the 6th day. It's building a foundation and bonding. And this is humans, male and female, are created on this day. And we've already had this sort of male and female ideas already floating through us. So very complicated stuff. And I'm doing a Hillel. I'm trying to explain the entire Torah while standing on one leg. And obviously I can't do it, but I can open it up a little bit to you so that if you do go and get a book on Sefer Yetzirah, you would start to understand how the letters and the words and the sounds and the shapes and the numbers start to fit together in this very complicated explanation and unpicking of the Torah, which is why we can talk back and forth across the Torah and the rest, the Tanakh, the prophets and Chetuvim. They all link back together because they're all formed from these letters and sounds and shapes. So that's what we're playing on throughout this. And this is the mystery starts to unfold of this Hebrew alphabet when you get into things like Kabbalah and Sefer Yetzirah. There are various versions of Sefer Yetzirah. This is the Aria Kaplan version. It's quite thick. There's a Jill Hamel version. I have said before, I wouldn't recommend it to you. I think I'd do the Google Wikipedia version if I were you, until you know a lot more about and feel very comfortable with a lot of the concepts that I'm throwing at you. But I thought we should end, as usual, with a meditation, connecting things like Vav connects things, and this and that and the other. I love the idea that it's all connected up and down. And so I thought we should take a couple of nice deep breaths, and especially breathing out, which is the wonderful way of relaxing into the breath called God, because God is in that silent breath of life. And just relax into your body and just feel a little bit in the moment here now. And just feel your body on the chair and in the room that you're in. Be aware of yourself. Just of yourself. And close your eyes so that you're not distracted by other things. And one of the Sephirah in the Sefer Yetzirah is sort of above and below. I like that just as much as Gevurah and Chochmah and all the other ones. I like the idea it's of above and below. And the Vav is definitely above and below. It's like a chain pulling. When you do something, you can pull that chain and have an effect above. It goes up and down, and I like that very much. We're not just swarming over the earth. We can go up and down. And we're a little bit like Jacob's ladder. Jacob has this dream where there's a ladder ascending to heaven. And the angels are going up and down, just like a vav, they're going up and down. And the nice thing in the Torah is it starts with them going up and then down. You would expect, if they reside in heaven, that they go down and then go up. But it says he saw them going up and down in that order. And I love this. It's paying attention to the detail of the Torah, that you have to ascend and descend. Don't go down lower. Go up first, and then you can come back down again. Go up and get what's wonderful and bring it down into your life. Don't descend into the pit and bring that up. Go up into the heavens and bring that down. Most of the Torah is about trying to bring spiritual amazement down here onto the planet, to be spiritually aware about how amazing it is, this universe, this planet. But to do that, you have to ascend, grab it and bring it down. Don't stay there. You've got plenty of time to go, stay there, but bring it down. Enjoy this life now. Be here now. Be aware that there's more. And you can get it by going up and then down. Like a vav. On the 6th day of creation, you've been created. And you're always being created. Every morning, you're created afresh. Go up and then bring it back down into your life. In your life with holiness. Breathe out. Come back into the room. And I wish you a very, very good Tuesday. And maybe see some of you tomorrow morning. You take care. Thank you for coming on a reading week. Very, very impressed.